Chance interrogates Diane, Tucker threatens Ashley, and Devon extends an invitation to Abby to move in on today's episode of The Young and the Restless. The woman Stark claims to be his wife was just carried away in an ambulance, and all he can do is stand there and fling around allegations, so Jack urges him to get the heck out of the event. Jeremy pulls out a marriage certificate. After perusing it, Michael concludes that Phyllis is, in fact, Mrs. Jeremy Stark. Jeremy is upset that Jack and Diane pushed them to try to reunite. He then turns to Diane and says, "Particularly you." Kyle steps in to calm things down, and Nikki announces that Stark must leave. Phyllis, according to Jeremy, was afraid and looking for reassurance. Protection from what? Jack wonders. From her, Jeremy says, indicating Diane. She threatened me with violence tonight, and here I am on my way to the hospital. When Chance saw what was happening, he said, "Those are some pretty severe accusations. Do you have any evidence to back that up?" When Tucker, at the Abbott home, proposes marriage to Ashley, she laughs it off. In fact, he advises that they run away together. Ashley is concerned that he has briefly lost his mind. "Thank you, but no thanks. I'm not going to marry you." Lily promises Amanda that they will find out why Phyllis passed out at the GCAC. Daniel promises to keep her in the loop. Amanda finds the waiting to be the most frustrating aspect. She starts to cry. Lily knows how terrible it is to feel helpless. The news of Phyllis's marriage to a Stark man has devastated Amanda. She didn't contact her in any way. Thank goodness Nate and Elena arrived before the ambulances did. When Devon gets home, Abby reports that Dom is sound asleep and she can go to bed. She gives Devon a kiss and expresses her interest in hearing about Amanda's situation. She is relieved that Chance didn't show up, despite Amanda's harsh words. As Devon left, Jack and Diane made their engagement public and Phyllis passed out. Devon tells Abby. Jeremy informs Chance during the event that he should have shown up a long time ago. Chance says he needs statements from everyone to figure out what happened. He doubts Stark's claim that the verbal attacks peaked in Phyllis's apartment and that Diane intended physical harm. He thinks Jack, Kyle, and Summer were there and that Diane encouraged her to do the world a service by killing Phyllis by strangulation. Is that true? Chance asks Diane. Tonight, did you threaten to kill Phyllis? Chance proposes they head to the police if Diane is interested in updating him. Diane is defended by Jack and Kyle. Chance wants to know if Phyllis was drunk. Nate claims he didn't notice any of it. Jeremy says it's suspicious because up until that point, she seemed perfectly healthy. Then, Chance confronts Diane with this question. Did you two have a physical confrontation tonight? Did you threaten her life? Diane squeals. Oh my goodness, do you think I did something to her? What a crazy idea. In the foyer, Lily informs Amanda that she hasn't heard back from Daniel and follows up by inquiring about Amanda's conversation with Devon. Amanda claims he apologized once more before turning the conversation to business. Lily is relieved that he has decided to dismiss the lawsuit. Amanda cautions her to not put all of her trust in him so quickly. Lily empathizes with her pain but recognizes his role as sibling. Amanda makes the valid point that a person who justifies treachery in one context is likely to do it in another. Lily makes a valid point, but Devon's love for his loved ones outweighs anything else. They may be able to resume their collaboration now that we are finally back on track, she says. Amanda seems skeptical. Tucker tells Ashley at the Abbott residence that he would not accept no for an answer. They discuss how determined he has been in his return. He proposes formalizing their relationship as a marriage. Tucker suggests that they play it off as a game by making their engagement public before they are truly ready to make a commitment to one another. Ashley feels he's trying to upstage Jack and Diane, so she labels him as such. Diane explains to Chance at the event how Phyllis convinced her to come to her room by saying that Kyle was unwell. She sent Kyle a text to double-check, but he didn't reply, so she went upstairs to check. After hearing Phyllis followed me in there and locked me, Chance naturally inquires as to whether or not there was any sort of physical confrontation. Diane claims it did occur, but Phyllis started it. She shoved her to the ground and began leveling these charges. It had been building for months, and she finally snapped, although she just meant to act impulsively and not in any way to harm her. Chance inquires if Phyllis sustained any brain trauma during the fight. The conversation is interrupted by Jack, who tells Chance he should be asking himself how Phyllis could marry Stark. I'd appreciate some clarification right this second. Tucker thinks Ashley at the Abbott home loves his proposal. She freely acknowledges that the idea fascinates and appeals to her on multiple levels of satisfaction. Ashley then changes tacks and advises him to get Devon to purchase McCall. She feels strongly about protecting her investment from the Newmans. Tucker has started on it. Jeremy said at the event that he and Phyllis were soulmates because they both had a lot going for them on the outside. Why aren't you at the hospital with your wife right now? Jack demands angrily. It seemed to Stark that he was being questioned. Then, all of a sudden, Summer and Daniel return. Summer, inconsolable, breaks the news that the ambulance never arrived at the hospital. The driver could not be reached by Memorial Dispatch. No one in our family knows where Mom is. It appeared to Jack that they were following the ambulance. Daniel recounts that they left the house and proceeded straight to the hospital because the ambulance had already left. According to Summer, there was no trace of her presence. None of this is making any sense. Kyle interjects as Summer says that her father is at the hospital in case the ambulance arrives, but that they didn't feel they could just sit there and wait. Daniel has asked Chance to assist in locating their missing mother. Chance agrees and then leaves. Danny inquires of Daniel as to whether or not he may be of assistance. All right, Stark, Jack yells. Exactly what is going on here? Nate and Elena talk about Phyllis's death in the pub. Elena decides to phone the hospital to find out if there are any new developments. Audra says to Victoria as she watches, "Interesting, isn't it?" She says, "I think I can now see the spark they have," and then leaves early because her boss has a lot on his plate. Victoria has said that she will go see how Nate is doing. Amanda, secluded from the rest of the group, informs Lily that she must visit Nate for an update. She drags Lily along with her as they head toward the bar. Elena just got off the phone with the hospital and said that Phyllis has not yet arrived. Devon tells Abby about his conversation with Amanda at Devon's house. It was primarily a business conversation. She doubts his word and doesn't believe that he will actually withdraw the lawsuit. Though Abby would be thrilled if he ditched the outfit, is that what he really wants? It's such a 180 that she's worried he's doing it because he owes Lily something. Devon said he felt a change in himself tonight, and it was due to her. At the Abbott residence, Ashley urges Tucker to take stronger action over Devon. She had told him, "You've lost your killer instinct and I don't like that at all," and he had taken it as a request to abandon his violent tendencies. She says that she just wants it when it's convenient for her. "That's the only way there's ever going to be a future for us, even if it's a pretend one," she says, and Tucker knows she feels the chemistry between them despite her enjoyment of the power she has over him right now. Tucker adds, "You know there's something more, but you're so terrified to accept it." Ashley responds, "What makes you so sure?" Tucker argues that if it weren't true, she wouldn't be interested in his improving as a man. A sniffling Ashley says, "Whatever gets you through the night." When visiting Devon's, he tells Abby that she helped him remember the value of family. It was Abby's unexpectedness that rekindled the bond between him and Lily that they had via their father. To Abby's ears, it seems like he's thinking of resuming his collaboration with Lily, but she asks, "What about your other family business? Where does McCall fit in?" Jeremy, at the gala, checks his phone and hears Nikki vent to Danny, Lauren, and Michael about Jack and Diane's announcement and Phyllis' rant. They don't understand where the ambulance went. Lauren says that usually Phyllis is the one who causes a commotion, but tonight there was obviously something wrong. Lena walks over to Sharon, who is on her phone, and whispers that this might be the big story they've been looking for. Sharon tells her to stop spreading rumors, and that all she wants is to know that Phyllis is fine. Incredulous, Lena exclaims, "Yes." In a word, yes, that's the crux of the issue. Jeremy looks up from his phone and sees Lena observing him from across the room. When Jack and Diane get home to the Abbott estate later that night, Ashley informs Tucker she plans to stay up and let them have it. He insists on staying to watch the circus, but she'd rather have some time to herself beforehand. Tucker bids goodbye and says he can't wait to hear her response to his proposal. At the door, he goes in for a kiss, but she pushes him away at first. He smiles as he peers back inside from outside the door. At Devon's, he admits to Abby that he is unsure if it is best for him to begin again with McCall or return to Chancellor Winters. When it comes to business, he and Lily are still very different from one another. It could be that starting over is the best option. Whatever path he takes, Abby will be there to back him up. Thankful, Devin leans in for a kiss. Chance joins Sharon at the event and breaks the news that the patrols have failed to locate the ambulance. She probes him about whether or not he has any suspicions of wrongdoing. Given Jack and Diane's propensity for putting matters into their own hands, Chance says it's possible. Sharon sees Phyllis's mask lying on the ground. It's on a napkin, and Chance takes it up. It might be evidence. Jack, who is close by, expresses concern to Diane that Stark is mistreating Phyllis. Diane says, "I didn't want anything horrible to happen to her," implying that the fight he heard was not representative of who she is. "Do you really think I'm lying to you?" Jack reassures her with a "of course" and an awkward embrace. On a sly, Tucker approaches Audra at the society bar. He thinks about how they stand out from the rest of society in Genoa City. Audra seems to be doing ok. If Tucker is to be believed, Nate has his sights set only on Elena, leaving Tucker very much in the cold. Tucker reassures Audra that their relationship is improving when she assumes he is on a date with Ashley and says, "I don't see her." Audra is likewise making preparations to achieve her goals. Devin and Abby are cuddling on the couch at his place, and he is gushing about how wonderful it is to come home to her waiting for him. She finally feels at home there. This, according to Devin, is where she belongs. Would you and Dom be interested in making this place your new home? Tucker approaches Audra at society in hopes of lending a hand with her proposal. "No," she replies firmly. "I got it," and she realizes that sometimes he can be resourceful. The man's name is J.T. Hellstrom, and I must find him. Victoria at the gala bar inquires of Nate and Elena as to the status of Phyllis, remarking that it has been some time since she has saw Nate put his medical training to use. His talent, according to Elena, is incredible. While Victoria agrees that everyone has more than one real calling, she insists that the former is what he should be focusing on. Elena reflects, "I think we have a very natural rhythm together," to which Victoria responds, "So I noticed." Elena believes that Nate is a terrific team player and suggests ways in which they may make collaboration a bigger part of their life again. Summer tells Kyle, Nikki, Danny, and Daniel in the lounge that Phyllis has not yet arrived at the hospital after getting off the phone with Nick. Daniel is concerned for her safety and also because she requires medical attention but isn't receiving it. Chance comes walking in with his head drooping. One car was involved in a crash on Collins Road. It's an ambulance. That's all I can tell you at the moment. Maybe it wasn't Phyllis's, but we should be ready for the worst just in case.